So I wanted to show you how I do the borders on the butterfly, and what I use is a yardstick. And we're going to start by measuring from this edge. I'm going to call this the finished edge because it's kind of have the finished edge here, and this will be our unfinished edge. So starting at the finished edge, you're going to be measuring down. I'm just using a yardstick here. You can use whatever ruler you have. And I'm going to mark every 3.5 inches and put a pin there. So when I put the pin in, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.5, and I want the tip of my pen to just touch the edge of the border here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.5, and I'm going to put my pin in here, and I want the tip just to come out right to the edge of the white there, but not, just touching it. So half, 1, 2, 3. Put another pin in, and I'm going to do this all the way down. 1, 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3.5. You see, I'm not doing math in my head. I'm not good at doing math in my head. Half, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.5. I'll slide it down here. 1, 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't come out perfect. It's going to be about 3 inches from the end. That's okay. We're just going to leave it there. All right. Now your next one is going to be a little bit different. This is good to do on an ironing board and just doing one section at a time. So if you have an ironing board to work on for this, it's nice if you can kind of poke your pin in. Or if you're working on a piece of cardboard, that works too. Just something you can stick your pin in so it sticks there. So I'm going to turn my ruler around here, and I'm going to eyeball about 1/4 inch away from the edge. I'm going to lay my ruler down here. So about 1/4 inch from the edge here. And I'm going to first measure 1 3/4 inches. That's kind of odd, but 1 3/4 inches. And I'm going to stick my pin in there. Okay, straight up this time. And then from there, I'm going to slide my ruler down so it's on an even number. And then from there, I'm going to measure every 3.5 inches. So 1, 2, 3.5. I'm just going to stick my pin in. This is going a little faster this time. Half, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to continue all the way down. 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. Slide it down. 1, 2, 3.5. Half, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.5. All right, we're not going to worry about that end there. So if you did it right, these are going to be staggered right in the middle of the other ones. Okay, so we're going to be doing like a lattice here. So now we are taking our lattice strips, and you notice the paper is already being peeled off the back. So I know when you did the middle, you laid it out first and then picked up one piece at a time and peeled the back off. But this time, these aren't numbered, so you don't have to worry about which piece goes where. So peel the back off first, so you don't have to go back and lift it up and redo this later. So what you're going to do is I start at this end here, and I put right at this second pin, I put the tip, the top corner, and then I lay this other one right underneath the pin, but just touching it. And you'll kind of get the hang of it as we go here. And I just work my way down. So this is right at the tip and right underneath this pin. And we're just going to work our way down here, right at the tip. Of course, always making sure this shiny side is down. Okay, this one you're just going to kind of eyeball. Well, actually, I think we're going to use one of these strips. So these are the edge pieces that we had cut. So there's two little longer ones and two shorter ones. Oh, I guess we do need this one yet. Okay, so we're going to use this one. We're going to kind of eyeball, parallel. This can be a little strip here. We're going to use a little guy, shorter end strip down here. And then we're going to go over this side too. So now I'm going to fill in with this. Oh, and this one actually can be this strip. So this is the end piece. It's a longer one. This can go here. We're going to kind of just make sure it's parallel to this one. It's going to hang over a little bit, and that's okay. Then we're going to work our way back the other way. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go right to the tip. It's going to overlap this other piece underneath it, and we're going to go right underneath this other pin. Try not to disturb that piece. And we're going to work our way down. Same thing. Right up to the tip. We're going to go underneath that pin. So these overlap, and it makes a nice little corner there. We can go back here and fill in. This is going to go right to the corner and underneath that pin. And let's see if we can use a short one here. And we're just going to kind of eyeball like there. Okay, and it's okay if it hangs over on the bottom. We'll trim that down later. So now we're just going to work our way back down this way. So right on the corner and there. And I'm going to go turn my iron on right now so it gets hot because we are almost ready to start fusing it down. We don't want to go up onto the blue, we just want to just touch the edge of it there. Looks like I need a few more pieces. Now we can use this longer edge piece here. And there we go. Okay, so I think that looks good. You can do any final little adjustments if you find that you need to, just to make sure it's just touching the edge there. So then I'm going to take my iron and I'm just going to kind of go down the edge. I'm not going to fuse this edge and I'm not going right up to this edge. I'm going to do the top edge first, but make sure you're not, because you need to cut this. But I'm not going to cut it yet until I have partially secured down. So start ironing here, but don't get those edge pieces there. And I'm just going to slowly work my way down. And I'll come back over the top of it one more time. I'm just kind of, I'll do a final fusing at the end, but this is just holding it in place. Because I need to do some trimming along this bottom edge before I iron it down, because I don't want to iron onto my ironing board. That would be bad. If you have a big iron and it doesn't fit in this little area here, you can always pull these pins out ahead of time. Oh, yep, I'm gonna go up to that edge, but I don't want to sew or iron these little edges here because I need to cut first. So I'm gonna come back down and go close to the bottom edge, but I'm not ironing this little tip here. I'm not ironing the tip. I'm just getting close. And I'm going to get close to the edge here, but not off that edge. Okay. Now I'm going to take some sharp scissors, and now I'm going to take the pins out. We're done with the pins. Okay. So now I'm going to trim up the edges. So you're just going to cut this so it's right along that edge. So it kind of has that angle to it. And same thing here. I'm going to cut right along there. It's better to cut a little bit big and then trim it down if you need to, than to cut too much off. So I just did that. I need to trim a little bit more because it's still overlapping a little bit. You can lift it up if you need to kind of get under it there. There we go. That looks good. I might just shave off a tiny bit more in this bottom corner. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to work our way this way and do the same thing. We're going to cut these bottom edges off, and these are okay if it's a little bit short, because you're going to have your binding that's going to cover that edge. So if this edge isn't perfect, that's okay. You want to get these as perfect as you can, because that's your finished edge there. But down here, if it's a little bit short, that's okay. It's better to be too short than too long, because if it's too long, it's going to get onto your ironing board. So I tend to go a little bit short. Try not to cut your backing. I just cut my backing there. Again, not a huge deal, because your binding is going to cover that up. You just want to make sure you have at least, you don't cut within a 1/4 inch, because your binding is only about a 1/4 inch. And I just cut my back a little bit again. So this one I didn't quite iron down, so it's a little bit loose, which makes it harder to cut. I just need to line it back up again before I cut. I'm gonna iron that a little bit. It's hard to work with when it's wiggling around, and it's hard to know exactly where to cut it. So now we can go back and trim up this edge. And again, this does not have to be exact, this edge. The only one that you need to be really precise is this edge right here. You want to get that one right on if you can. In fact, I'm going to trim off this just a smidge. Just a smidge. There we go. All right, now we're going to do our final ironing. So now we're going to really get it down and really get those edges, especially that bottom edge that we didn't get before. So after this is completely dry, you want to let it cool all the way. Let that glue dry. So after it's completely cooled, then you can lift it up, turn it, and do your next border. So you're going to repeat that for all 4 borders, and then you're done. I recommend, if you're going to be washing it, to sew these pieces down, even just running one piece or one thread down the middle, just to make sure they don't fall off in the wash. And actually, it'd be better to go down both sides, go up and down both sides, but you can do a pattern. You can go down one side and then come back along the other side and do the same with the other strip. Wouldn't take too long. But there you have it. That's it.